Okay. Yes. So where had we reached? We were just talking about what is in the issue of alcohol, and we had talked about
Yes.
the problem not being in you as an individual, but the problem being in the nature of alcohol. Alcohol by nature is addictive. Therefore, if you take a glass of wine, you'd want to have another. Or if you take a beer, you'd want to have another. Not because it's your fault, but because it's the nature of the alcohol. And then we also talked, as much as that is the truth, you also
Yes.
have what they call personal weaknesses or personal susceptibility. And we talked about the issue of personality. So if you're a person who has a personality which thrill-seeking personality, alcohol is not the substance for you. And then we also talked about if you have a family history, or what we informally said we refer to usually
Yes.
as a family family curse, what we refer to as a family curse. Yeah. So we're now going to go into the next issue
Yes.
of other psychological illnesses that COVID has unearthed. Is there any bill that you want to highlight?
Yes. Particularly, the questions I get are about anxiety and depression. Because somebody particularly called me and said, Bill, for me to get through this anxiety of, I'm not working, I don't know what's going to happen. It looks like since I'm not essential staff, I'm going to be laid off, everything. Then the news has got people saying that now some companies are taking on the decision to have permanent home workers and also to lay off those who are not necessary, replacing them with machines. So anxiety and depression are a reason as to why people are, let's not only talk about alcohol and other drugs, but basically COVID-19 has escalated this. Well, I believe it is one of the things that's getting them to get hooked to using drugs, or even start using them like sleeping pills. There's a lady who is particularly using sleeping pills because she cannot sleep. She's anxious, she's depressed. How will that be dealt with post or during and post?
The unfortunate truth is it seems things are going to get worse. They are bad right now, but from what we are seeing, the trends in the media and predictions, it seems like things are going to get worse than what they are now. More people are going to be laid off from their jobs. The media is going to be reporting more deaths and more gruesome things. So things are going to get better. Things are going to get worse before they get better. Talking a little bit about anxiety.
Okay.
It is normal, as to be anxious. When you're going for, I don't know, an examination, when you're going for an interview, it is normal to be anxious. If you are not anxious, you wouldn't be able to prepare. So it's because you're anxious that you're able to say, no, let me prepare for this test. Let me prepare for this interview. If you are not anxious, you just be, I have an interview tomorrow, let me go. Just go as you are. You don't even dress up appropriately. So anxiety is a good thing. If we are to go back in the times of, those of us who believe in evolution, the times of Aleman. So if Aleman was not anxious, he wouldn't be able to run away from the approaching lion. So he would see a lion and he's like, hey, what is this creature here? Let me wait for it and ask it what it is. That Aleman is not your grandfather because he was eaten by that lion. Your grandfather is the anxious guy. So the guy who saw the lion approaching and then, he ran away, he took off. So anxiety is a good thing, especially if it's there in short times. If she's there for a long time, it is not a good thing. Right now, the anxiety that we're having, it is there for a long time. So for over a month now, they are reporting people are dying. I don't know, Italy, UK, Corona is finishing us. I don't know, 5G and things like that. So these things scare us. They bring those signs of anxiety that you know very well. So poor sleep, restlessness. You feel like you can't settle. You sit in this chair 1 minute, the next you want to go into another chair. There's something also which is called hypervigilance. So you feel your heart. Normally your heart is beating, but like now when you miss a beat, you're like, what is going on? What's happening? Is this a sign of corona? If you hear the wind banging the door and it makes a loud sound, you jump because you're hypervigilant. All those are signs of anxiety. Increased appetite, poor appetite in some people, increased appetite for alcohol, sex, drugs, and all those things. All those are part of anxiety. Anxiety wouldn't be a bad thing. If it is there for a long time, that's when it begins bringing problems, So every day you're not sleeping well in the
Mhm.
night. Every day you feel like you're on pressure all the time. So you're not able to rest, you're not able to calm down. You're not able to calm down your mind, and other things begin cropping up. You know, you may have, because
Mhm.
of the increased appetite, you may have put on weight. Your body is more susceptible to illnesses because your immunity goes down. Other things like depression also begin
Yeah.
to crop in. So anxiety is not generally, it's not a good thing to deal to be having, but there are ways that we can deal with it. For you, how do you usually deal with it, Bill? When you're
Mhm.
anxious, how do you deal with your anxiety?
Um, Particularly, I think I kind of got an experience of how to deal with it, considering that I was in rehabilitation. I did the rehabilitation. I was under lockdown. I couldn't access the outside world. I was dealing with my feelings and everything. And in my situation, I have been taught these things. I had done counseling and everything, so I understood and I know even right now that if I feel a certain way, I will call somebody who can talk to me. I work with I work with psychologists, I work with counselors, so I know to call somebody directly, and if it goes out of hand, then I'll call the person who can deal with it at a deeper level. So that is how I managed to do it. But so many people, one of the major reasons as to why I wanted us to have this chat and to have many more of them is because people don't understand the value. They feel, no, it's just depression, and depression just becomes another thing. Or it's just anxiety, it lingers on, it will go. They don't know the value of, do I need to get help? Why should I talk about it? Aren't they going to charge me for this? For something I can do on my own? I mean, I can even drink or take a painkiller, self-medicate or something. So I deal with it because I know and I have people to talk to. But how about others?
Other people. So the way you've been dealing with, you're saying, is
Yes,
talking to others. So recognizing first of all that the anxiety is there, and then talking to others to see that it goes away.
yes,
If you
yes.
are if you are anxious about, I don't know, let me just talk about it direct. It's the issue of the news. Whenever you watch the news, CNN, Al Jazeera,
Yes,
whatever, they're telling you so and so has
yes.
died, this journalist has died, this doctor has died, now it's getting worse. So if you subject
Mm-hmm.
yourself to that I'm not saying don't watch the news. What I'm saying is don't watch too much of the news. If you watched,
Mm-hmm.
let's say you say, no, every day I'm going to watch 30 minutes of CNN, that would be okay. Or I'm going to watch 20 minutes of Al Jazeera. Or I'm going to, catch
Yes,
this program on the BBC. Or I'm going to watch NTV at 9 or NBC at 8.
mm-hmm.
Just something that is, you don't overdose yourself. Just have a little bit and then you stop there. Because the question is, so now, Bill, for you, if you watch the news,
Mm-hmm.
CNN is telling you that today 500 people have died in the US. Was Bill of Uganda, what are you going to do about those 500 people that have died in the US? Most likely nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's nothing that you're going to do about it. So why should you continue
Yes.
subjecting yourself? It's like if you have a date, someone is on your case, wants their money, and you constantly you keep calling the person. By the way, I have your money. How much am I supposed to pay you? After an hour, you call them again. By the way, I have your money. How much am I supposed to pay you? You'll find that you'll get more
Yes.
and more and more and more and more stressed. I'm not saying keep away from the news. I'm just saying, give yourself a dose. Do not overdose yourself on the news. The other issue, of course, is talking about it. Get someone and talk to them. I'm anxious about this. I'm worried I may lose my job. And then you'll find that your anxiety is going down. The other thing is things like exercise. I've been seeing you,
Mm.
riding your bicycle around,
Exactly.
going for walks.
On my
I think that
bicycle.
has been beneficial. Mhm.
Yes.
I'm sure it has been beneficial.
Yes.
Yes. So, time
Oh,
for
it
rest.
helps a lot.
Hey, reading a book. You've been having a book. You say, I'm busy with work. I'm busy with this. I'll read this book when I get some time. Now you have all the time you need in the world. Most of us are not working. We're at home. So now is the time for you to do those things. Now, as opposed to later. So that's anxiety for you.
Mm. Yes.
I don't know. Have you ever met someone with OCD? OCD is something which is also suspected it may
Oh
be a
yes,
problem in this period. It may be a problem.
yes. There is those who already have underlying conditions, and people can't even identify. Then when they intensify, they start laughing. I've seen some videos where they are laughing at people because they are reacting negatively, because they are scared, because they make fun of them. They don't. Do they really understand? Even in the homes, they find they blame someone for something. How do you anyway identify that someone probably has got OCD, or because these are things which even people don't know what OCD is anyway.
And these are things which are affecting people out there. So OCD is a condition, which is usually mistaken for perfectionism. People think that someone with OCD is lucky because they always want their things perfect. OCD is not perfectionism. It's actually very disturbing and debilitating. So you find that yes, someone with OCD, there are many variants. One of the variants is that you may find someone with OCD and that person fears germs. So the person always wants maybe to wash their hands. They want to maintain themselves in a clean environment. They want to have very many baths in a day. So imagine someone has been having their their OCD, and then this whole COVID picture comes in. Imagine how worse their OCD is going to be.
Yes.
This is a person I imagine
I understand that. Yeah,
wanting to sleep with a nose mask on. The other things like PTSD. PTSD stands for post-traumatic stress disorder. A while back, I don't know if it is still the case because I dose myself on the news. I don't overdose myself. CNN and all those other channels were showing,
very true.
Churches full of dead bodies and, trucks ferrying coffins and whatever. And those things traumatize a lot of people. Therefore, we're dreaming about coffins, dreaming about dead people. So PTSD is something similar to that. You encounter something which is very stressing or something which scares you, and then it keeps on coming back and haunting you. So I imagine PTSD is also disturbing many of the people out there. The next thing we shall talk about is depression. Maybe I'll let you have a go first there, Bill.
You were breaking a bit. I didn't get the last sentence, but I'm trying to stress the emphasis on what to do, right? And I need the psychiatric point of view because as the layman, we like to say things a certain way, but we need to enforce it with Yes, are you still there?
Yes, I'm there. You are still saying you're still asking a question about what people can do. I didn't get it very clearly.
Yes, I was saying that with all these things, anxiety and everything, and depression, what can people do to deal with the situation, basically, to get back, to maintain normal? Because I mentioned a little bit earlier that people are worried of losing jobs. These are real things. You know what I'm saying? I've talked about people are self-medicating because maybe they have OCD. Now they greeted somebody or someone passed by them and spat in front, because it happened to me some time back. And then you run and buy hydrochloroquine. Is it called hydrochloroquine? To self-medicate because you don't want to get sick. The slightest cough, you're taking antibiotics. there is that, and it is unavoidable. Let me just say, how are people going to cope, ahead, if I may put it that way?
The first thing,
Because it's scary,
it is very
and the person
scary.
has a condition.
It is very
Many of them
scary, Bill.
probably don't even have, cannot afford services. Yes.
It is very scary, Bill. It's very scary. There are many ways. So one of the ways is to appreciate, to know what is going on. So to accept that you're actually anxious. That's why I was saying in the beginning, it's normal to be
Yes.
anxious. So you accept that you're anxious, and then try and pinpoint what you're anxious about. We have a saying in Kabbalah. I don't want to put it in the way it's put, but basically the gist of the saying is that if you know which animal you're hunting, then you'll prepare the appropriate tools. If you're going to hunt for the edible rat, you may not need to go with a very long spear. You just need a net. If you're going to hunt an elephant, a net will not help you catch an elephant. You need enough spears are not only one. So if you know what it is,
Yes.
then it is easier for you to prepare and deal with it. So if you know that you're anxious, try and pinpoint what is making you anxious. So you're like, am I anxious because I'm worried I may lose a job? Am I anxious because I think I'm susceptible to coronavirus? Am I anxious because I'm worried about my father or my grandmother, my mother in the village? Am I anxious about the economy? Try and pinpoint what exactly you're anxious about. Let us say you're anxious about, losing a job. Then focus on that. Okay, so I'm worried I may lose my job. If I lose my job, what is the worst that could happen? I will be unemployed. I won't have money for some time. But I have a CV. I'm educated. I have my skills. I'll be able to get another job. But if you're anxious and you don't really zero in on what is disturbing you, it's like you hear something. Bill, I imagine you're in your house, you hear certain noises outside the house, and then instead of going out and peeping through the window to investigate, you decide to cover yourself with a blanket. You're going to get more and more anxious because you don't know what is there. But you imagine, you're hearing certain sounds outside.
Yes.
You go to the window, you peep outside, and then you're seeing dogs making love. Or you're seeing dogs, I don't know what it's called, but you're seeing dogs. It will not, you'll be like, yes. I'm even anxious for no reason. As opposed to
yes.
covering yourself. So investigate, find out what is making you anxious, and then act on it. And then there are other things. Try to put your mind away from what is. So after identifying what is making you anxious, you're like, I'm worried I may lose a job. Is there anything I can do about it? It seems there's nothing much I can do about it. So you just wait. Don't all the time think that you're going to lose your job. Think about other things. Think about planting a garden just outside your gate, or think about, helping your child learn how to read, or, go for a jog, go for exercise, something to get your mind off what has been making you anxious. So don't focus too much on what is making you anxious. That is it basically. If you're doing all those things and you find that you're still anxious, then, seek for help. Bill is there. Bill can help you deal with your anxiety or with the alcohol that you've taken up too much. There are other people also that can help you deal with this anxiety. I know right now recommending government hospitals, people are not in a rush to go to government hospitals because they think that they think that is where corona is. But we can seek help from the government hospitals. Even the private hospitals have usually many of these people that can help you address some of these issues.
Yes, there is the serenity prayer. It's the one we use for us who are in recovery. It says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. If I can't change it, then chill it. Courage to change the things that I can, yes, and the wisdom to know the difference between what I can change and what I cannot change. And I think this would apply basically. So going forward on this COVID-19, because we've talked about the worry of, what will happen next, and you mentioned do something about what you can do. For instance, if you fear you're going to lose your job, now is the time to plan on something you can do that could earn you something. Instead of focusing on what the news is saying, focus on the positivity of, how you can manage your family or teach your child for this. So now, going forward, there is also the fear of the economy. There is fear of things falling apart. There is all these theories that are coming out. From your perspective, are these valid, or, you know, it is just talk? That poverty is going to be real, it's going to be unmanageable, you know.
Our economy is going to, I'm not an expert in economy, our economy is going to be affected, definitely, you know, because people are not working, they're not generating that money. But we have gone through things worse than Corona. You know, we had things like Ebola, we have had world wars and things like that, but the world moved on. And still there is good news. So even in this crisis, we can still see on the news that life is starting to return to normal in other places. So I saw on the news yesterday, I think Italy has lifted some of its lockdown measures. I think Denmark somewhere, children can now go to school. There are even countries which have never registered a single case of Corona. So things are bad, but they are not that bad. They are not that bad, and they have a potential.
So we should be at ease.
Yes, we should be at ease. Because now, Bill, you and me, if we are not the governors of Bank of Uganda, you and me, if you worry about the economy, what are you going to do about it? You as Bill,
exactly, when you can do nothing about it.
There is nothing you can do. You cannot, are you going to change the dollar rate? Are you going to, there is nothing you can do as an individual.
Exactly.
So, let us...
and let
Senator prayer. We focus on the things that we can.
Let me take you to this very important one. Actually, it's what I should have started with and just gone with throughout the whole. But we are still introducing ourselves to the people, especially you, because we fear. I've had someone telling me, we fear these guys, man. I've referred a couple of people to you and they'd be like, but man, I don't need a psychiatrist. Is it that bad? I'm like, well, he has something he can share with you to enlighten you on the problem. So the important thing is this: how is the mental health conditions that are being brought up by COVID? We've seen there's a jumble of things: self-medicating, drinking a lot, the isolation, the distancing. People are going to still be fearing each other when they get back. How is it going to? How are the mental health challenges that are developing right now going to affect the workplace? And what does the workplace need to do after this? Because, people are only talking about what to do about the economy, what to do about the political arena. They are saying push the elections forward, everything agriculture, we need to store food and all that. But nobody is looking at the most critical, which is if my mental health is already challenged and I'm going back into the workplace, how is it going to affect the workplace, the family, and everything around that?
You're right. Not much attention is being focused on that. So task forces are being set up to distribute food and seeds and things, but not much is being put on the psychological component, which is the most important. If I'm not in a good psychological state of mind, I will not even eat that food you've brought me, or I will not plant those seeds that you've given me. So we need to focus on this. And even the workplace needs to recognize you don't need big things. So you don't need, let us say, very big budget. You can even just one or two health workers, mental health workers who can help you deal with your staff. Just put them, have the contacts. If let's say you're a manager of a workplace, no, you guys, we have talked to this gentleman. He's ready to provide you with psychological services. If you need any problem, please give him a call. We shall not know what you've discussed with him. That is between you and that gentleman. So simple measures like that. Even things like, just simply recognizing and understanding that these are stressful times. Like, no, we understand this is a stressful period. It's okay if you're a bit depressed. It's okay if you're a little bit anxious. We can work through it. We can pray. We can exercise. We can, cancel each other, and then we get out of these conditions. The big key being recognizing that there is a need and then acting and using small sustainable things. So you don't need, let's say, big budget, or you don't need a team of 20 people for you to manage your health organization, which has, let's say, 20 people. Even one person is enough just to come and, talk to your staff one day, things of the sort. Yes.
Yeah. So they should, we need to start talking about this and making it a priority, because if we have these mental cases, and on top of, I mean, not mental cases, these health
Psychological
challenges,
cases, yes.
psychological cases. I have to pick
Yes.
on that now,
Eh,
that's the thing. Yeah, now, because the workplace is going to receive now people who have developed certain issues, and their friends or their workmates cannot identify the problem. You see what I'm saying? They are blaming each other, they are fighting on each other. So are you saying that we need to now step up and encourage people to call upon uh, people in the mental health world to come? There are so many psychologists, counselors, even the spiritual counselors, to come and have a word with people when they resume work,
yes, I think
as
that
in
is yes, to
to be
visit
a
the
part of the
workplaces and
recovery program.
yes, so visit the workplaces and talk to, to the staff. I think something else also we should think about, Bill, is using forums like this, because they have a potential of reaching
Yes,
very many people. So maybe we can think about making smaller things, focusing on certain things. So for example, we can start with, how do you know that you're taking too much
yes,
alcohol? And we make a small clip on that. And, the way you're seeing these videos of coffins and I don't know what, COVID, I don't know, 5G, the way you see them saturated.
yes, the coffin
Why
bearer.
is the COVID bearer? Why don't we also
Yes,
make these small videos containing things like this and they also, saturate? The only problem is that
exactly.
people are not so interested in that. They are more interested in these more dramatic things. The whole
Yes.
church was
So
full of.
how do we make it interesting enough for people to pay attention to them?
I think this is one of the ways. So we are reaching out there. I can see there are people who are listening, asking questions, paying attention. So
Yes,
this is a step in
yes,
the right direction. Maybe the key would be sustainability and maybe scaling up. So I see already, already visiting radio stations and TVs and what. Maybe it needs to be more
yes.
frequent and more sustainable.
Yeah, of
Yes.
course, as we say, they are not programs that pull the crowd, and therefore there is a challenge. There is usually that challenge. But yeah, thank you, because I like that you are willing to come out and talk to people. I like your page. I'm one of the people that goes to it. Maybe you also need to be putting out more content. I would like people to know Dr. Imam Pamizo. He's a psychiatrist. He's relevant to the youth, because we are a younger generation today. There are the older ones, there are the younger ones as well, who are the majority. So I also encourage you to continue talking to people, sharing. I personally want to have you more on my page to explain certain things, because you're very relevant. You know what I mean? Thank you for the good work that you are doing out there, the challenges. It's good to know that you also face normal challenges like other people, that when they come to talk to you, you're not going to read their mind, you know what I'm saying, but you're going
Yes,
to
I know.
help them come through these issues. What particular message would you like to share as we come to an end of this particular talk?
So thank you very much, Bill, for hosting me. I think the message that I have would be just a reminder, just telling the people out there to, watch your psychological health. Watch your psychological health. Watch your psychological health. That would be it.
Okay, although you're cutting, I don't know, I didn't get that.
Yeah, I can
Maybe
say
you
it
could.
again. I'm saying that
Yeah.
the only message is, telling people out there to watch your psychological health, watch your psychological health, watch your psychological health.
Watch your psychological health. And I have also gotten that. So thank you, Dr. Mpamizo. I'll be sharing a lot your page. I'll be sharing how people can communicate with you. I already do that on phone when I get calls. But we need this resource. Everybody out there, we need to get out and get out of our comfort zone, because it can be an uncomfortable comfort zone. That's how I put it. You feel you can manage, you close in, especially the men. Women, when they have a problem, they will have a speed dial of like 30 women to talk to. When it's a man, you don't want other men to think that you're a sissy. I don't know what the word is. So we close into ourselves and be like, no, I'll manage this. And then from anxiety, it now, which is a normal thing and you can overcome, you get into depression. The depression now becomes even a phobia. I don't know. Maybe you will explain those things eventually. But thank you very much for your time. We shall do this a little bit more often in a more orderly way. We have missed a few of your very important statements. I couldn't even get some of the feedback, so even my responses were half-half. But post-COVID-19, I believe we shall have better platforms, and you've also given me more ideas to make these snippets, small clips, to share with people, and I'm going to do that as best I possibly can.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that
very
will be it for now until our next interaction.
Yes, thank you very much, Bill.
Okay, have a good day, doctor.
All right. Yes, you too. Mm.